Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. I got something pretty interesting for you today. We're gonna take a step into the Twilight Zone, known as the Chinese version of World of Warcraft. Basically, for those who don't know, in China, anything to do with death or anything representing it is a very taboo subject. So much so, for instance, their word for the number 4 sounds too similar to the word death, so it's generally avoided. So, this means the word death, things such as skulls, bones, undead, basically anything to do with death is strictly off the table. Surprisingly though, things such as zombies still seem to be okay, but they just can't have any bones showing. So, in regards to video games, what typically happens if these elements are common? Well, it depends on how deeply ingrained death is in the game, but generally two things happen. The game isn't released at all, or it's released, but it's heavily censored and edited until it's appropriate for the culture. Now, this may seem like a monumental undertaking, and it is. It's a huge game and death is everywhere. We even have a class based all around it called the Death Knight, or what it's called in China, the Fade Knight. So, when I said anything to do with death, I really meant anything. Not necessarily everything though. Some stuff did slip through the cracks, as you'll see. So, in this video, I'd like to show you some examples of the edits and censorships, comment on them a bit, and just compare the two versions. Something I should say before I begin though is that this is all taken from a Reddit post from a while ago by the user Vadis. He gave me permission to reference and use the images from his post, so all credit goes to him. And if you want to see the post for yourself, I'll have a link in the description. Let's start with what I already mentioned, and that's the Fade Knight. There's not much difference between them and the Death Knights, it's just the differences in the spell names pretty much. Death Coil is renamed to Fade Coil, Death and Decay is Fade and Decay, and so on. Other than that though, they're pretty much the same. Another big thing is the undead model. As you know, both the male and female undead models have some bone showing. The arms, legs, fingertips, ribcage, spine, etc. In China, all of this is a big no-no, so it was changed. These are what the models look like in their client. Obviously much more meaty, and the more gory facial appearances are removed. It's kind of interesting, I think. I think the less decayed version actually looks pretty nice, and it would make for a good optional selection on the US servers. As you can see, the spine no longer shows through the armor, which I think makes more sense. I never understood why the spine protrudes out of their clothing like with what we have on live servers. As for other censorships, it's what you would expect. Skulls, bones, etc. The Abomination model of course wouldn't do, so they gave him a beer belly. Luckily though, they kept his extra appendage. Here you can see an edited skeleton mage. Here's an edited Saffron from Nexramis. A less bony, more bulky undead troll. And the bones of Agonar in the Hellfire Peninsula were also altered. And the Room of Upside Down Sinners in the Karazhan Crypts had the corpses removed. And the list goes on and on. By all means, check out that link in the description if you want a full account because there's a lot of changes as you can imagine. So, the things they censor make sense, but what they're replaced with doesn't always make sense. And that brings me to the next set of screenshots that I'll call the Breadening. More abundant than anything is all of the ground clutter. Through many dungeons or certain leveling zones, there'll be some bones or corpses strewn about, so this obviously can't stand. What objects could they use to replace them? Crates, barrels, piles of junk? Well, how about bread? That's right, what better alternative do you have to replace this chunk of unknown meat on the floor of this cultist crypt? Why, bread of course. I don't know about you guys, but this is a perfect fit. Chunks of meat? Bread. Decaying corpses? Bread. An undead monstrosity? The gingerbread man spreading joy with his breadness. That's right, Skullomance is under renovations, it's now a bakery, and they're really aggressive with their sales pitch. I strongly suspect the reasoning for this is that throughout the game, there are lots of tables that have meat and animal carcasses on them. The people in charge of censoring all of this stuff started with that, and appropriately so, changed all of these meat items into bread. It fits in this sense, but a problem that arose is that these tables are everywhere, so to save time, they changed all of the items in the entire game across the board. And the problem with that is that these chunks of meat that are on these tables are the same ones on the floors of Skullomance and who the heck knows where else. They probably found out about it after the fact and just sort of went with it. And so we learned the true purpose of the Cult of the Damned, and that's to feed all of Azeroth with their delicious dough-based sustenance. Production is at full speed, and they're speccing into pastry soon, so prepare yourselves. Other strange anomalies are statues replaced with sacks of grain. Talking skulls are now talking grain sacks, and all sorts of stuff. Another recurring thing is the Strawman. This replaced the many skeletons in the game, and they're all over the place. People really don't like these Strawmen because it's a genocide. But at least they respect them enough to put them in their own crypts and coffins. And here you can see how little Strawmen are made. and this unfortunate soul seems to be the subject of some sort of experiment. Now, that's the last straw in my book. I can't bear to watch anymore. Some stuff did slip through the cracks though, which is understandable considering just how many skulls and whatnot are in the game. The Lich King's armor remains intact, as well as Sylvanas', and various skulls and bones did make it through. It all seems kind of rushed, and some weird choices were made. So, this corpse is fine, but this lantern isn't? I guess it really depends if there are any visible bones or not. But anyways, that's about all I have to show you. Like I said, if you want to see a more thorough accounting of everything, check out that link because there's a lot I left out. And once again, credit and thanks goes out to the Reddit user Vadis for digging this stuff up. That's about all I have to say though. I'm gonna go play my Fade Night. I hope you found the video interesting, like it if you liked it, and thanks for watching. Peace.